That's it, 7 o'clock? This is all we can draw out today? Jesus.
A nice night. Actually, I've had night for a long time.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order with a salute to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's get started this evening with approval of the prior board meeting minutes from September 4th. Anybody have any changes, questions, comments?
We had nothing that's presented. We'll see that's presented.
Okay, you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, communications to the board. Mary, you have anything?
Don't too much again this month, but this from the New York State Department of Public Service. To make people aware of there is a Lifeline discount telephone service program that is offered. I've got some information I will put on the desk out here. People are eligible if they participate in qualifying federal assistance programs or if their income is at or below 135% of the federal poverty guideline. So there's information here. I have a poster and I have, like I said, this information where you can call 1-888-ASK-PSC1 to get information, or go on the website www.askpsc.com. Public Service Commission.
Did you say it was 135% below poverty level?
Above.
Is at or below, that's what it says, 135%
Wow, they really want to reach out to a lot of people, aren't they?
of the federal poverty guidelines. You can save as much as $250 a year. Wireless customers can receive free minutes, reduced rates, and free phones.
Wow. Okay. Just seemed like an odd number. Okay, thank you.
I know, I thought so too. That's it.
That's it?
That's all.
Slow mo. Okay.
That's good.
Okay. I guess I skipped over the clerk report. You want to go clerk report, please?
Town Clerk's Report for September 2012. Planning Board fees for subdivision, $125. Dog licensing, $40. Building permits, $485. Certificates of occupancy, $225. Other permits, $25. Town clerk fees for solid waste, $1.50. For hunting and fishing licenses, $43.71. Community house donations, $100. Total check for the general fund, $1,045.21. For Parkland Reserve and the Trust and Agency, $400. For inspection fees, Trust and Agency, $450, both checks. Paid to the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets for dog surcharges, $16. Paid to New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, $750.29. Paid to the Columbia County Treasurer for solid waste fees, $18.50. So the total intake for the month was $2,680.
Much better than last month.
Much better. The hunting and fishing.
Okay, motion to approve the clerk's report. Second.
Motion, Evan?
Okay, all in favor?
Thank you.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Mary. Correspondence for the web committee. Does anybody have any comments, suggestions for the web committee? Any updates we need to know about?
No.
We're good, everything's on the web now?
Yeah, as far as I know, there's nothing new this month. We're putting the videos up on, that seems to be going well.
Good, excellent. All right.
The only thing that we did talk about, putting information on there possibly about Code Red,
Yes.
where people can go to
Link to the county
sign up,
website so they
link
can
to
sign
the
up.
county website for the Code Red information.
Yes.
So we can work on that.
Good. All right. Okay, let's move
What
on.
committee update or?
Just wanted to say something that I've gotten feedback from a lot of people saying that they're very thrilled that the videos are on the web. They like that very much.
Well, you know, it was a work in progress, thanks to Fred and Evan. I mean, you know, they finally worked out the bugs and it's walking working, so that's great. Maybe that's why nobody's here. I don't know, maybe they're watching it at
They were
home.
watching it at home.
Hey, you know, as long as it gets out there, I mean, it's, you know, it's obviously town business and the more people that can be part of it, participate, it's great.
Because they can do it at their own time now.
Exactly.
Quite a few people have commented to me that they watch the meetings on television even, so I'm sure more will now.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't get the cable that
Right.
this is provided on, so that's great. Okay, let's move on to committee reports. Ed, you want anyone to go over?
Nothing new this month.
Okay,
Kind of slow.
all right. I know we've been looking at the, we'll talk about it a little bit here, but the bridge, obviously we're still trying to get some numbers on the replacement bridge to verify how much it's going to be for replacement bridge, but
I do have that.
did they get back to you on
Oh,
that?
yeah, I have it. Unfortunately, my printer wasn't working, but I got some numbers here. They actually put it in writing. Two different types of bridges. One was galvanized, one was weather and steel. Okay, now, prior to it, the salesman that I talked to from Alabama earlier, he was a little lax in his communications. Didn't get back to me. So I got a hold of somebody else. They spec'd it all out. I'm going to forward you all the info. There's warranties, there's engineering data, and the whole thing. This, obviously, the first bridge was a temporary bridge.
Mhm.
This would be a permanent structure. The weather and steel bridge, have to be a two-piece because I thought it was an 80-foot span, and it turns out to be a 120-foot span. It's $180,848, weather and steel. And like I said, I'll forward you that so you can take it to the county. A galvanized, hot dip galvanized is quite a bit more. It's $221,359. I understand they have to take it from Alabama and ship it to Canada to have it hot dip galvanized. They don't have a vat big enough around this part of the country to dip this bridge in. But it is a two-piece bridge. They said this is freight and everything included to the site. And at that point, we would have to, supply the crane to set up. It's a bolt-together application. It's relatively quick and easy, I was told by the salesman. They figured in that price a steel galvanized deck on that bridge, which will accept concrete. It is also available in a wood plank decking that once it's set, it's done. We don't have to do anything. But and I think he said it was relatively the same price, whether it's wood plank or the galvanized decking. If they wanted to do the galvanized decking with the concrete, of course, we'd have to pay extra to have concrete and rebar put in and whatnot. But that's pretty much a concrete number. They put it in writing for us, and you can do what you want with it.
You could get that to me, I'd like to really take that up there.
Yeah, and this is, like I said, he told me, I asked him about the lifespan of the bridge. He says 50, 100 years. He says as long as it's inspected and maintained according to their inspection schedule, which he forwarded as well. But it's still a far cry from $500,000.
Exactly, the last one lasted 19 years now.
You said we'd have to supply we or the county would have to supply
The
the
county,
crane
exactly. Now you're,
and work to bolt it together, or do they provide people with
No,
installation?
no, we'd have to have the county bolted together. It wouldn't be that difficult.
So the installation is on the county?
Yes, but I believe, being in the construction business, I believe the county could actually handle that. It's relatively easy. I talked to the salesman in depth about it. It's basically like putting a erector set together. It's designed so that you don't need skilled iron workers to put this thing together. But being that it's two-piece, probably would have to have two cranes. What's going to happen is you probably a 90-ton crane on each side of the creek. To the one half would have to be set and held in place while they put the other half, and then workers would have to go out and bolt this thing together before they release the cranes. But the cranes, it sounded to me, he said if everything was ready, it'd be a day's project. So you're looking at a $5,000 to $6,000 crane bill.
Okay, I was going to ask about that.
I think the county came forward with removal of that bridge too prior to that, wasn't it? Like plus
The
other work.
removal plus making a turnaround, they estimated to be around $150,000.
So the turnaround's a big deal. Removal, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, I don't know what, they didn't get a specific bill, they just
Well,
got a
you
number.
It
will-
wasn't
but
itemized.
You will have to pay for removal before you put the new one in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They would have to, they'd have to pull that apart,
So
right?
that's part of the cost of the project as well.
Yes.
Of course, that's gonna happen anyway.
That's,
Right.
yes,
Right.
yes, yeah. So,
You can
They
get
come
me
out
the-
and measure it and build it, or they measure it, or they build it to your specs? To our
that's a good question.
specs? You don't wanna get that thing come in and it's an inch too long, or
Or
an
it's-
inch too short, might be all right if there's a big enough bearing area, but,
No, I'm not entirely sure about that. We didn't talk about, there is an outside salesman. They may rely on our own county engineer to provide that information about the bearing of each bridge abutment.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously, this would obviously be a county board project.
Yeah.
I just wanted the information to take back to them and say, this is what we found out, we verified, there's some numbers, and how can we do this, let's make it work, so, $400,000 to $500,000 number just doesn't sit well, didn't fly with me, and this kind of verifies that I think we can do it for less.
Quite a bit.
So, if you could get me that information, send it
I
to me.
will, there's about 5 or 6 files they sent me.
All right, my meeting's not for a couple of weeks for the Public Works, but I'll certainly forward it on and have them ready to discuss this at the next meeting.
yeah, my person asking those questions, Ray, is to not get you up there and get caught flat-footed that, oh, we gotta do this and we gotta do that,
The quote is very specific. It is the bridge itself in 2 pieces delivered to the site. That's it. The rest is your baby. So we'd have to add it on to
Take
it,
it down,
of
put it
course.
together, put it up.
But it still should fall quite a bit short of a $500,000 bill.
I would
Is
certainly.
there a possible price break if more than one bridge were purchased?
That might be possible. I don't know.
Several bridges in the county have the same issue.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
certainly could purchase multiple bridges at this point. That's what-
Yeah, and this was a weather and steel, so really, if anybody knows what weather and steel is, it's the steel you see the state use. A lot of times it's rusty. You think it's not, it doesn't need paint. It oxidizes to a certain point,
Right.
and that's it. Although, a lot of road salt probably would be advisable that the county should, or town, pressure wash those areas once a year.
Yeah, that rusty metal has not turned out to be as good as they thought it was.
No, it has to have, there's a certain amount of maintenance that you have to be up on it. But it's probably less maintenance than paint, I would assume. Once paint fails, it fails. So you're right though, it does. They did in the warranty, there was specifics about the weather and steel and salts, that it should be washed periodically.
And honestly, Ray, if they didn't get a better price on other bridges, they were just buying them somewhere like that where they were cheaper to put up, that would be a savings all around for the
Yeah,
county.
especially for small bridges. I mean,
Mhm.
we've actually asked the engineering department to put together a 10-year plan of projection on how many bridges they project that need
Yeah.
attention. We have several flag bridges, closed bridges, yellow flag bridges. Work needs to be done on quite a few of the bridges around, and, if we come up with a purchase price, it's a lot cheaper, maybe, we could use this for other areas, obviously, but they have to come up with this 10-year plan. They're working on it, by the end of the year. So we're maybe looking to bond a significant amount of money and do a bunch of this work because, we're talking several million dollars. I mean, tens of millions of dollars here between roads and bridges. So it should be a significant bond over maybe, over the next 5 years, 10 years to do some of this work. And we asked them for an overall 10-year scope project on what needs to be fixed and what we're going to be looking at. So this would, obviously maybe fall into that, and that's what, they've told me that they're looking to do this, and we would put this into that as far as fixing a bunch of bridges, so. There's no quick fix on the bridge, I just want to get some numbers up there and say, listen, we can do this for cheaper, if it's gonna cost $150,000, let's take it down, and we can spend $300, for another $150, we have a bridge, so. Let me work on it a little bit more, and then see where we get with this, but, I'd like to, get that forward to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of files.
So I can push it up there and see what we can come up with. So I will keep on it. All right. Bob, you got anything over?
Not too much, just the work on St. Luke's, as you know, is just about done. There's a couple items that, still need to be checked before we release the money to everybody, so we'll check those out. And most of it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think they did a fairly good job. It looks nice, real nice. I mean, I've watched it periodically while they're working on it. Came out real nice. It looks real, much better. Obviously, should hopefully last a good, I don't know, paint 10 years hopefully. You know, I mean, you know, as long as we keep on it, they fixed a lot of the raw wood, so we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, main concern that, and I know you know for the others, is the rear entrance. You know, that was just finished today, and couldn't we get the door open to see whether they had actually replaced the wood that they were supposed to replace? You know, have a chance to check that before we release the check.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I had that to talk about under painting, but yeah, we'll just go over real quick again, but we'll certainly do that. Yeah. Okay. Haven't you have anything?
Nothing to report this week.
Nancy, you got anything?
No, nothing.
All right. Okay. Old business, just to update everybody, you know, the bridge, we just had this discussion, no need to go over that again. Certainly still working on it, and this information may help my argument, but I'll certainly keep everybody up to date. We work on it every month, and I'll keep bugging them until I get some progress. The lot line adjustment, I just want to mention that has been completed for the parcel next door. There's just a couple little things I got to supply the surveyor with so he can get this filed, but the maps have been done, the planning board accepted it, everything is signed off on, so we are completed with that finally. And the church painting, we just mentioned that came out very nice. It has been completed. I just want to take a chance to walk around there and make a punch list to make sure there's nothing that was missed. I haven't had a chance to really look at it yet, but in the abstracts tonight, I did put in for the final payment for the contractor, just so we get the check down here. Obviously, I won't sign it and disperse it until we go through the building, make sure everything's done to our satisfaction, and then we can release it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to wait and get a check later on. So I did put it through as far as just to get it, authorized and get it down here. But it looks very nice. I'm very happy with the fact that we preserved the church at this point, because it did desperately need the paint job. And the roof last year, so that's in very good shape at this point. The bathroom repairs, the sinks have been put in, the ladies' room and the men's room that we talked about and authorized last month. The bill is in the packet as well. They did complete that, and they look very nice. They even work, so I'm happy.
Very nice.
But they are completed and they are in the bill tonight, so they did a very nice job on that. NYMER report, I just mentioned that last month that we had a report from our insurance company, NYMER. From a meeting we had, they walked through each building, pointed out some issues that they wanted us to address. They gave me a written report, which was about 3-4 pages with things they wanted added or corrected. It really was a lot of minor stuff. There's a policy issue that we're going to address. I think we're going to hold off on that until we get to our policies in January to go through and rewrite any policies. But as far as the safety issues, they pointed out several smoke detectors that weren't in place in any of the 3 buildings. They had them itemized on here, but as a matter of fact, in this room, in the town hall, we did not have smoke detectors. So the community house only had 1 smoke detector, one in each room. And the town garage, they wanted smoke detectors put in there as well, and hardwired smoke detectors was the main thing. So I actually went over this with the, Jimmy, the superintendent of highways. He actually went through this list and is going to, and has done most of this already. He put in the smoke detectors. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at one that's in the back wall right above the light, was put in. That's a hardwired smoke detector. There's one in the courtroom now. There's one battery one's in the courtroom. Mayor's office, St. John's. The community house is one upstairs now. There's a hardwired one in the, I believe it's in the hallway, and there's also another one in the big family room over there. And he also took care of his office, or excuse me, his office. He had to replace an outlet. So he went through the punch list and he corrected it all. So basically we didn't have to hire anybody to come in here and do this, which was a big help to us. One of the other things that he is going to do is he's going to have the guys scrape down and paint the fire escape. That was also listed in here with a picture that needed to be done. So he's going to take care of that as well. So he's obviously saving us time and money to not have to hire somebody to do this. One thing we will have to address in next year's budget, which we actually put in the tentative budget, was money for fixing the backside of the community house and possibly some other wood on the gable ends. There is some wood damage over there. The backside especially is very weathered. There's some rotted wood. He even gave us a picture of above the door where it was rotted. He says that this should be fixed, replaced, and painted. So that is in the tentative budget for next year. And that's something I'll mark off as pending, obviously, due to budget restraints. So other than that, I think we've pretty much answered or satisfied all this stuff. I'm going to fill the report out and answer the insurance company. But we have taken care of, and Jimmy's helped us do almost all of it. So I just want to thank him and his guys. New business. I just wanted to briefly talk about the tentative budget, which we gave Mary tonight. We had a budget meeting, went through the budget this year for next year's budget, excuse me. The tentative budget is going to have a very slight decrease. It's almost basically a zero increase. But we are holding the line on taxes again this year. It's been zero for the past, 3 years now, or a slight decrease. We still face the same problems we faced last year, the year before. The revenues are slightly increasing, but we still do not collect enough revenues to support what it costs to run the town. In plain English, that's what it is. Our expenditures exceed the revenues by about $80,000, $90,000. We're budgeting out of fund balance again to make up the difference. It's the same thing we face every year. We have the budget cut down to such a minute amount that there's not a lot of money to save. That what we're doing is we're hoping the revenues continue to increase. They have been increasing. It's helping us offset more money taken out of the bank. But once we have our final budget workshop, we'll have some final numbers, and we'll have a public hearing next month before the full board, before our board meeting, to discuss this in depth and have a public hearing on it. But the main thing is, there is no increase, and we do have sufficient fund balances to take out of the fund balance again this coming year. I don't know how many more years we can do this. Probably for a few more years, but if revenues don't continue to come up, it's going to be an issue. We're going to have to look to maybe raise taxes at some point. But for the short term, we are okay, and I feel comfortable with this budget we've put together. So keep everybody updated, and again, we'll have a better idea on the revenues for our next budget meeting. I'm still waiting to find out what the next sales tax check looks like, but then we'll be able to finalize these numbers. Do we need to make a motion to accept the tentative budget? I can't remember. You don't remember? We'll come back. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You make a motion, it's a public hearing, but I don't recall on the tentative.
All right. I just want to update everybody real quick on the property on 9G owned by Mr. Cole, Billy Cole, former Lemunion, Carl Lemunion landfill, actually is where everybody remembers it as. We had obviously we had an issue there last year with some dumping on a northern piece of property that Mr. Cole owned. It was litigated by the DEC. There's a northern parcel. The northern parcel of this property was where the dumping occurred. They had a temporary letter the DEC sent us while they were investigating this, that we were to hold off on any further issues of permits on this piece of property. So we had a letter on file, so we did that. We did not allow any permits to be issued. Mr. Cole is looking to develop some of that northern parcel, and he asked about if he could get permission to do this. I had to contact the DEC. Richard Forgier was the man who handled this, and the one that sent us the letter originally telling us that we could not allow any permits at that property. He did send me another letter now saying that they have no, and I'll quote one of the last paragraphs, the department does not have any further authority to require closure or remediation of this parcel and has no jurisdiction with regard to its future development and use. So this letter basically clears Mr. Cole to go ahead and do what he needs to do, or wants to do on that northern parcel. So we do have it on file if anybody's interested, but as far as we're concerned, he can proceed again with the northern parcel that he has, not the original land. it's still under DEC
Is there any
regulations.
reference in that letter to the southern parcel, or just?
It does. The second paragraph says they do still have interest and will be monitoring the landfill, the other parcel. So that's in the second paragraph. So, but as we move forward, as far as we're concerned, we have no jurisdiction to really stop them from developing. And no need to. I have been requested by the Suzette Boyd, which is the director of real property, about putting the town's tax roll on the website. We're one of the 2 towns left in the county that do not have the town tax roll on the internet. The county taxes are on the internet, but the town is not. It's something that, you know, it's an argument that I had for the longest time that I lost in the county, that I felt very strongly about some of this information being put on the internet, because I felt that it opened up seniors and other people to solicitations from any organizations outside of, obviously, the United States even, but from anywhere. Anybody that can get on the internet could solicit people by looking at exemption codes. They could tell if you're a senior what kind of exemption you're getting. I felt that it would possibly target seniors and elderly people and people that are receiving these exemptions for fraud and scams. So I fought this in the county. I lost because it was under state mandate that it would be put on the website through as far as the state and the county tax roll. Livingston is the only other town that has not put it on. At this point, you know, all the other information is there. I've given up on my argument. It's up to us to authorize the county to accept and put it on the website. As a matter of fact, they have the program, which it's through the treasurer's office, and it is a one-time cost of $794.37 for the software, which the county would obviously pay for and charge back to us in our chargeback agreement. So if we want to do this,
So what you're saying is that the county wants us to pay for something that we don't want to do. or you
That's
don't
what
wanna
I
do
heard.
In the first place.
it's totally up to us. It's up to the town. Each individual town. Livingston is, as far as I understand, will not approve it. They have said their board does not want to approve it.
Well, what happens?
And they're
if we-
standing there.
if we
They don't
don't
say
approve it?
nothing. Our town tax roll does not go on the internet, is what it amounts to.
Well,
So,
I think you have a valid point, right?
you know, I thought I did, and I argued it, and other people agreed, but they gave in, and and I've been holding off, and Livingston refuses to back down. I didn't want to do this, but I want to bring it up to the board
Not
for
only do you
discussion.
have a valid point, but in these hard economic times, by not agreeing to it, we save ourselves almost $800 that we don't want to pay out anyway.
That's one way to look at
And
it.
if we get slapped, what's the worst that could happen?
I mean, the information is always available in the town hall, it's available through the tax collector. It's just not on the internet for the world to see, and that's what it comes out to. So I'm presenting this to the board because I've been brought up again by the director of real property to bring it forward.
I'm behind you.
Is there any advantage that they come out with, why it should be?
The main advantage is, I guess, some of the banks that need to get the information, instead of calling the tax collector to get some information, they can go on the web and look it up themselves. I think that's the main advantage to this. But
But people
other
aren't
than
getting a
that,
break on the cost of getting a mortgage for having it online either.
no. I mean, that's the main advantage.
Save
I mean, I
the
think it would
bank.
cut down on some paperwork and some calls for Joan or tax collector.
Right.
I think that's the main advantage to it, from what I can tell. But again, it just puts that information out there. You know, the information is available. I mean, this just opens it up for predators as far as I'm concerned. I've said that from day one.
Has Joan or the assessor, either one, made any indication that they would like it done?
Joan has not mentioned it to me at all. The assessor has mentioned that, how come we haven't done it yet? But as far as preference, no. I think he would like it to be.
You
But
can pay for it.
but there's been no, he hasn't formally requested that it be put on there.
I mean, I know he does get calls from realtors, for example, that want to know how much taxes are and what the assessments.
Right, and that's, again, that's what it would do. It would cut down on some phone calls between maybe, like I said, the tax collector, maybe even Hank, but, you know, I'm gonna leave it up to the board for discussion. You know,
Well, I'm with Ray on this, that we survived all these years without this technology. I mean, we're so technology dependent, it's ridiculous. There's a telephone and people gotta communicate with one another, enough for that.
why spend $800? So-
That's what I say too. We're fighting over nickels and dimes in this town. Why, if we don't have to spend another dime, why should we? Another mandate from the state, lovely.
I'm not gonna encourage you to change your mind, so if you guys have any further discussion or would like to move it, it's up to you.
The other thing that you mentioned was if the state required it.
The state is mandated that counties have to be online, the county tax roll.
but
And
not
I
the
asked them to
taxes.
fight that, and I asked them not to put it on there. I mean, what's the repercussions? I mean, what is
Well,
really?
if the county tax roll is on, that means that since we're part of the county, we're actually on already.
The town tax is not.
Town tax, but the county
The
tax
county tax
Is
roll
on
is
there.
on the internet.
for anybody that lives in Clermont.
So that already shows people's like status or whatever,
Mm.
if they're getting exemption.
That was my
So-
argument for why it should have been on there, but I was not.
And it also shows the assessments and that, so I don't see any reason to spend the $800. If the county wants to, well, the county picking it up, that's us also. So, and even the state would be us. I guess if somebody gets a grant to put it on, I would have no objection, but at this point, since most of the information is already there. But I don't see why we should spend $800.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to reject it, or we just don't do anything?
You don't have to do anything with it. If you don't want to bring it, it's not even, nobody's presented the motion, so it's not going anywhere.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Sounds like a
It's
motion.
forgotten.
It's forgotten.
Didn't hear
It
it.
doesn't hurt my feelings any. I will certainly be proud to tell her that it has not been passed.
Livingston and Clermont.
That's right.
Yeah,
And from
black
what I
votes.
understand, Livingston is not going to pass it. He says they strictly are, they're not going to pass it. I don't know, the board doesn't
I
want it.
don't feel justified in spending money that we're not required to spend.
No.
I agree. Okay. Moving on, resolution for court grant. We have a resolution here. I think Lee's in the other room looking, we're working on it right now, as a matter of fact. He wants to apply for a grant, through the, who is it through? State and miscellaneous grants, federal grant to apply. Let me read the resolution, but what it is first is, he's applying for a grant for funding for, I believe, stuff that you need in a courtroom. A copier, a new air conditioner, I forget what else he's putting on there, but stuff that they need, and there's grant money out there. So he needs permission, a resolution from the board to proceed and file for the grant. And it's not a matching grant, so it's completely grant funded. So obviously, I have no problem with him applying for a grant. So, resolution number 43, 2012, Justice Court Grant. Be it resolved that the Town of Clermont Town Board hereby authorizes legal aunt to apply for federal, state, and miscellaneous grants for the year 2012 related to the Clermont Justice Court. Lee, do you want to add anything to that?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
We just read the resolution for the grant. Do you need to add anything to that? I mean, do you want to chime in on it?
I wasn't paying attention.
You didn't get to see it? I'll read it again.
Okay.
Be it resolved, the Town of Clermont Town Board hereby authorizes legal aunt to apply for federal, state, and miscellaneous grants for the year 2012 related to the Clermont Justice Court. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No
So
problem,
moved.
thank you.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? Carried. Yes, sir. I'll sign. Anytime we can apply for non-matching funds, grants. It's great.
While we're still on new business, one item that discussed, the assessor has offered to make labels for anybody that has to notify neighbors for actions with the zoning board and the planning board. And he suggested that there should be some kind of a charge for that. We have one individual who is interested in doing that, and we told him, until we've authorized it as a board for an amount, that if he wants to make a donation, and the assessor would do it for him. But it saves, particularly for somebody that has a lot of neighbors to notify,
Mm-hmm.
it saves a lot of time going through the book to find the addresses. And you find the properties based on the map, you get the tax numbers. Then you look in one list to find the name, one part of the tax roll. And then you take those names and look them up alphabetically to get the addresses. And it's quite a bit of effort to go through that. He can take the numbers and then 10 to 15 minutes, he can generate a list. He did it for Mary when we sent the letters out for the lot line change. And my thought was maybe we put out as $25 or 25 cents.
$5, wow.
25 cents per label with a minimum of $5, a maximum of $10 or something. We don't have to pass it tonight, we can think about it.
Yeah, I'd almost like to do that, maybe our fee structure or something, maybe we wait until January and do it all together.
We could do that too.
Change it at that point, we can discuss it more in depth.
We could do that too.
See how much, interest is in that. But yeah, it certainly would save a lot of work for people and eliminate maybe missing some, So maybe we should, look at it maybe in January. I think in the next couple of months we get by. What do you think?
Okay,
Sound
good, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Supervisor report. Let's see, where do we start? Let's start with Pine Haven. They finally had the meeting and approved the CON for Pine Haven, which is good news. The state, we've been waiting for that. They missed it last round, which is 2 months ago. They finally did had the meeting, and our broker and the director went to the meeting, and they approved the program, which is great. We're looking to possibly, button up the odds and ends. We have some meetings to do on it yet, but possibly break ground next year on this project, as long as they verify the numbers and the state funding is still there, which has been a question, but it looks like that won't be effective for the next 2 or 3 years, so we should be able to get this project in, which I think is going to be great. And then the old building, we could finally address, once this project is accepted and underway, possibly, getting that worked out for the Veterans Center, which is what we've been trying to work on, which I think would be a great idea. It is working, it's moving along. I don't know how much more information I'll have monthly, but I'll keep it under the, on the radar and let everybody know if there's any updates. The courthouse project has been set to get underway. I believe they're mobilizing, excuse me, the trailers to set up. That project will be started finally after 20 years, but it is finally going to start and get underway. That'll be an 18-month project, so the next year and a half they're going to be working on this. Again, I've expressed concerns about how I think it's going to work with holding court at the same time we're working, obviously working on this building in the same building. I think it's going to be very difficult, but there hasn't been another location secured at this point. I know we're still looking, still working on it. I've looked at several different places, but as of right now, it's going to get underway with the court still in session, so it's going to be very difficult to work that out. What else is going on? The budget process has started in the county finally. It's been changed this year from the past several years. Again, I've probably, if anybody doesn't know by now, I'm not very happy with the new process. It's been in the papers. I've been very vocal about this. I just don't feel there's any consistency to the budget process this year. There used to be one committee set up to take care of budget process, with several veteran supervisors would sit there for 2 weeks to go through every line item, every budget of every department, and you'd have a consistent outlook on raises, needs for departments. This year, it's been pushed off to the home committees. Each committee are doing their own budget interviews. You have several different supervisors on very, numerous different committees, so there's no real consistency to the way this is being done. I just don't see the need or why this was taken away from the budget subcommittee. I don't feel it's a good move, but again, you have committee chairs of some of these committees that weren't even on board last year, and they're in charge of these budgets, and it just makes no sense. I was very unimpressed at my health and medical committee meeting. I think that was in the paper if anybody read that, or it was misquoted. They said I shut the meeting down for lack of information, but I didn't shut the meeting down, but I was very aggravated that there wasn't sufficient enough material there to make the budget decision. So I was very unhappy with that. I demanded more information, and I've been doing that with every committee. I'll keep everybody updated. Like I said, we just started. Actually, I got a couple more this week coming up. We'll see how it goes. But you know, again, I don't see how this is going to benefit the county when you have numerous different people looking at budgets, and some of them authorizing raises, some of them not. There's no consistency to this budget process this year. So I'm going to leave it at that. What else is going on? The homeless shelter, that's been in the paper, that's been looked at because the numbers have been dropping tremendously. But that's not uncommon for this time of year. You know, now as the cold weather gets closer, we start to see an increase. So I mean, I think the numbers are looking, you know, impressive at this point. I think we were down to 17 the last time it was quoted. We're hoping that it stays this low, but it certainly made us look at this project that was presented in a different way, because you know the way it was presented originally, there was no incentive to have less people there. You know, we're paying a flat rate of, you know, whatever the number, $600,000 was. You know, if we had one person there or we had 50 people there, you're still paying $600,000. So it didn't make any sense the way the contract was worded. That's why a lot of us objected, and it has not been represented at this point. So I don't know where that stands, but I know it's not going through a resolution this month. So they are taking another look at it and a deal of their alternatives, I believe. Let's see, what else is going on? I can't think of anything else. You have any questions on anything? Have you heard about the county going on? The bridges and roads, I've kind of went over that. We have several issues with roads and bridges that need maintenance. We're looking for a master plan on that. We're still waiting to hear. We're still waiting to hear what those numbers at the end of the year. So.
Just out of general curiosity, do you feel with the new budget process that when you go to vote on that budget, you'll have as much information as you would have had in previous years by the end of it?
I can't tell you yet. I'm not going to discourage it yet, because it's been promised that once all the committees do the budget, it's going to get reviewed by the budget officer, which is the chairman of the board, and the controller, and it's going to be presented to all the supervisors for a review.
In that way, okay.
I don't think reviewing the budget is the same as going through the budget line by line.
Yeah.
It's totally different when you're talking to a department head face to face and asking why they're spending this,
Right.
why they need this, why they need this. So I don't think I'll have as much information or feel as satisfied, but I may have the numbers. It's a little bit different,
Right.
but I personally don't like it. But that's just it's the
Yeah.
way it is this year. So. But I'm not going to say, you know, we should all
Right.
have the
it
information.
all in the end.
Let's put it that way.
But
We will have the information, I've been told. So, and we, you know, everybody's invited to go to any of the department actual committee meetings if I want to sit in on a meeting. But you know, since you know we used to do it in a two-week block where you know everybody go in, you know, they sit there for 2 weeks straight all day long. Now there's you know one night here, one night there, and, you know, conflicts with other meetings and stuff. So it's very difficult to actually sit in on all of them. Before I used to, you know, just go there for, you know, basically a week and a half and sit there and do it all. So it makes it more difficult to actually sit in on all of them. But again, we should have all the information, let's put it that way. The other thing, you know, I don't know if it even makes sense to mention, but there was an article on the online Register Star today, as a matter of fact, in regards to a position in the county that is being settled with retroactive pay, and I certainly voted against this. I'm going to mention, I'm just going to really explain it real quick just so people know what's going on, because I just don't understand some of the logic on some of the stuff that's going on in the county right now. There was a position in one of the departments last year that it was a school board project. It was someone that helped in the school systems. The funding was completely discontinued, obsolete. No more funding. The position, unfortunately, we have no county funding for that position. It was all under grants. So we had an option to either lay this person off and you know, obviously remove the position, or what we decided would be a good idea was to try to keep this position, to keep this person working for the county, and give him a position in the same department, but we had nothing as a lateral move under the union contract, but we moved him over with a slight decrease in pay. Now, I'm talking, the numbers were in the paper, so it's not a secret. It was from $67,000 to $61,000 something. It was a slight decrease in pay. Now, the option was the person would be on unemployment, but you know, we thought he was a good employee. We wanted to make it happen. We wanted to keep somebody on payroll, so we moved this person over to this position. This was last year. Now, this year, we get hit with a union grievance that we weren't allowed to move this person and decrease their pay. And they filed a grievance, and our human resources director felt very strongly that we had done everything correctly. The wording in the contract protected us. We should have no problem defending this. The union representative and the chairman of the board, and I forget, the director of human services, worked out an arrangement where they put this guy back up to his normal salary and pay him retroactive pay for back to January 1st. I can't understand for the life of me why this was worked out, why this arrangement was made. It wasn't run by the full board. And I voted against it. It was in the paper. And I just want to let everybody know that I can't understand why we did everything right. We helped the person stay on the payroll. He took a little pay cut, yes, but he was promised as soon as there was a position available, he'd go back up to his original pay. So we kept him in the system, we kept him on the payroll. And then the guy turns around and files a grievance against us. I was very disappointed to hear that. Obviously, I voted against the resolution to reinstate him with the retro pay. I certainly would like to reinstate him to his original position, but not with retro pay. So I don't understand why this was done. And you know, when you take your human resources director, you take their opinion because they're professional. This is what they do. They said we had a very good ground to stand on. We did everything correct, and yet it's still settled. So you'll read it in the papers, and you'll certainly see why I voted against it now.
Retroactive pay being $5K.
Yes.
Maybe the legal fees to fight it.
Well, it was already through the grievance process, so we've already paid a good portion of it. It would have went another day probably in grievance, yes. It might have cost us another $5,000. It very well could have. But, you know, to me, it's just a principle. I mean, you help a guy out, you do the right thing, and then you take it to you, you know. If it was going to cost us $10,000, $20,000 to fight it, yes. But I mean, you know, I don't think it was going to cost us much more to go to the next step. And I just felt very badly about it. And I've actually, it's pretty bad when you have a former supervisor reach out to me and thank me as a fellow taxpayer, or excuse me, as a former supervisor, but as a taxpayer in the county, thank me for doing this because he was on the board when this came through and he couldn't believe it either. He's like, I can't believe that this has come up again, but thank you for voting against it. So that's just a little background because I want people to understand what's going on and where I stand on some of these issues.
When that grant was over, this particular person was he really in need? Was a new position created for him?
New position was not created. That's what we couldn't do. We couldn't create a new position.
I mean,
we had a position with a little bit less, like I said, a step down.
So there was a need for him.
Yes.
You weren't
Just
creating.
okay,
Gotcha.
No, that would make it worse.
Okay.
It probably was originally though, I'll say.
Well,
I'll bet that it was originally created because they got the grant. Originally, back when he started.
oh, his position.
When it started.
Probably. He's talking about the position he
That's
went to,
all
I think,
those
right?
Yeah. Whether it was a
No,
need
there
or
was
just let's
one.
create something to help this guy out.
No, there was a
there was
need where
one.
he could help out at a little less, like I said, a less step down. But,
Yeah, it's an ethical thing.
It's just,
It's
you know,
pretty bad.
it just rubbed me the wrong way. I'm sorry. And I just want people to realize when they read it why I voted the way I did. So. And that's about all I have. I've rambled on long enough. I don't think I have anything else. Motion to pay abstracts.
Move that we pay abstract number 9A, voucher number 234A, in the amount of $4,600.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And just, you want an explanation on that way? That's,
If you want, go ahead.
there was it's a separate abstract for one payment because it was a payment that was done in between months. And in order to keep the check numbers in order, it had to be on a separate abstract. So then in the general fund, I moved to pay abstract number 10, voucher numbers 235 through 262, in the amount of $10,770.80. $1,058.24.
Sounds good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Sign that sheet.
You have, there will be.
You're on a roll. You got the spotlight.
I move we pay highway abstract number 10, vouchers number 93 through 99, in the amount of $4,573.03.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Public communications, comments for the board? None?
I have a question then. Want me to go up there?
Please.
I've missed you. It's good to see everybody.
Good to see you.
Ray, is the weight limit on the Little Elizaville Bridge 5 tons?
Yes.
Do you think that a garbage truck weighs more than 5 tons?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. Because when I was crossing that bridge the other day, I saw a toucan garbage truck go across it. You know, this seems to be a new garbage company that's around here. I've noticed they have black cans with orange lids.
Yep.
And I've seen more and more of them around. And you know, a toucan is a black bird with an orange beak. I think that's why it's called that. Do you think we should call them and say, hey guys, don't use that bridge?
Yeah, it's a very good possibility that maybe, well, they can obviously see the signs, but obviously maybe they need a reminder either that or we'll have Eli sit there for a couple of days and let them know. Because, you know, that's what we've done with the other trucks. It seems to be working. I don't know, Bob, if you noticed it, because you live on that road, and much traffic going down every truck.
Which you know about the Pleasant Valley?
Yeah, yeah. It was a few weeks ago, and this is the first meeting I've been able to come to since then. But it just seems like we should at least say something so that they know that we're aware of it, that we're taking note.
What I'll do is, I'll reach out and give them a phone call, courtesy call, and let the, organization know that obviously there's a weight limit and their truck's been seen on it. If we happen to anybody see them again after this, then we'll certainly have the sheriff sit down there and give them a reminder.
Okay.
We want to try and keep the heavy
That's it.
traffic off.
You guys are doing a great job.
That truck would definitely be over the limit.
Oh, yeah.
Because my understanding is that they go by the gross limit. You know, so even if you
So
go
when it's
across.
full of garbage, much over that.
Yeah, even empty.
The truck alone is
Yeah.
15,000.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because 5 ton is nothing, it's
I
10,000.
mean, even some big pickups have gross weight.
My pickup is 9,200 pounds, gross vehicle weight. That's only 3/4 ton pickup, so yeah, legally they should be on it now. So,
Yeah.
I'll, like I said, I'll give them a courtesy call and then we'll take it from there. If anybody sees them again, obviously, if anybody else in town sees it.
Particularly because they seem to be more and more ubiquitous. You know, they seem to be moving north. I've seen their cans further and further up this way, so we ought to just make a little gentle reminder.
Yeah, I've seen them, I think, on Nevis Road a few of them too. There's more around, so.
Maybe, I don't know if they're doing an aggressive campaign, an advertising campaign, I don't know.
Try to compete with the county waste. That's the
Yeah.
big one.
Okay, that's it. Thank
Okay,
you.
very good, thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Judy?
All right.
Why are you?
Mr. Mason?
She's always here.
You gotta have some comment for us.
I'm here to watch you guys, that's why I'm called illegal.
You comment?
Tell me again what the amount was for the weathering steel bridge.
Oh, the bridge numbers?
Yeah.
The weathering steel was 180,000?
188.48. And the galvanizer was 221,359.
I also had a question
Sure.
about the,
Wait a minute, you live in Clermont?
Putting the tax stuff online, is that just for people grieving their taxes? Is that why they do it?
Grieving your taxes?
Yeah, people who can get information about
Well, obviously,
comparables.
it's easier for people to access from home, obviously if it's online. they can come in, we have a tax book in here, in the office that they can go through all the information. It is available, but, as far as sitting home, yes, it would be more convenient. That would be one of the things.
Well, actually, if the county tax is already on there, then the assessment's already on there. I mean, the information they need is already there.
Right.
The only part that's not there is the town part,
Right. But somebody, yes.
so they can
that-
find out the values and such already.
Okay.
So there's really no great advantage
To
to
spending the
anybody
money.
putting it on there than to have to pay $800 to do it.
Personally, I didn't see it either, so I'm glad that you guys agree. All right,
Move to adjourn.
move to adjourn, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.